One, I want you to be wealthy. And I also want you to have a very happy and healthy sex life. And today we're going to be talking about pornography. Pornography, when I first discovered it, I thought, hey, this is pretty good stuff. And, I watched it and, masturbated, and that was pretty much it. And then, I like the real deal. I like having sex. And the thing about it is that the way the business model of pornography works now is completely different than the time period when I was watching pornography. And what that means is that because pornography builds off of the endorphins in your brain, so if you're watching something that's very exciting, stimulating, such as video games or a football game or a violent movie, these endorphins are going off. And what happens is that after the endorphins wear off, you're kind of tired and you don't get too excited and your sex drive goes down. So understand that when we're watching pornography a lot, addiction, what happens is that we'd rather watch that than go out and seek a partnership or a relationship or put up with our partner. Because it's just a lot easier to be off in our own little world and not have to interact with other human beings. And the other thing about pornography is that they're actors. They have breaks. This is not a continuous one shot. This is multiple shots, multiple opportunities. Yeah, there's a lot of different partnerships and different visuals and storylines. Reality is that it's not reality. It's a movie. And if you believe in movies, that's great. There's been some wonderful movies that I've thoroughly enjoyed that were sci-fi and fiction. But my point here is that life isn't a movie in the sense that there are cuts, there's edit, it's prescripted. And when we're talking about pornography, you don't just walk in and part your eyebrows with your tongue and walk out with somebody. Yeah, in the old days, all you had to do was flash a little bit of cocaine, and you'd pick up a girl pretty quick. But reality is that that's not how it's being worked right now. One of the things that I'm very strongly against is pornography of children, child pornography. The reason why is that a child does not ask to be a porno star. I mean, they're not sitting at the dinner table with mom and uncles and aunts and grandma and saying, hey, you know what I'd like to be when I grow up? A porno star. That just doesn't happen. So the other part that I'm not real excited about is pornography that has violence, where the partners get beat up, there's blood, there's physical violence. I don't like that. And I don't think that it's healthy to be watching that because you're overly stimulated with the endorphins and then it turns to something violent. And that, what it does is it gives us as men a self-image that we can do this to our partners. And the answer is no, we should not be doing that to our partners. The last thing is porno that has bestiality in it. We should be not going there. That's how AIDS got started. We don't need to be having sex with animals. It's not appropriate. And it sends the wrong message to our egos, to our minds, that it's appropriate. And here's the biggest issue. That it's not an adult like me that is watching the pornography and being overly stimulated and yes, it can cause erectile dysfunction in somebody such as myself at my age. But understand that it's affecting the younger children. At 10 years old, their brains are not as developed as a 27-year-old. A 25-year-old's brain is not as developed as a 27-year-old brain. And what does that mean? That means that they don't have any regulators. They don't have any conscience. And what happens is they think that it's perfectly all right to have what they're watching on their cell phones and act it out. But they have no regulator. So that is inappropriate. And do I think that pornography should be regulated? What I'd like to see is pornography to be legalized, but I also think it needs to be regulated and have some safeguards, parental safeguards, that keeps it out of the hands of the younger generation. But understand that if you've got a brother or sister that's 20 years older than you and they're watching porno and you happen to come in and they show you it, it's going to be overstimulating at 10 years old. So I need to sit here and hear your comments on this, because this is one of those items that I'm not quite sure the jury's out on it. And I do and am aware that because of the dopamine that goes out and because people don't know what relationships are about, that's going to cause the erectile dysfunction. So the other part about it is that our partnerships become skewed if we only base them on pornography. Violence with a partner, again, is not appropriate. Pornography is not taught in school. Pornography in sex education is, STDs are, but not the idea that you need to watch what you watch. You need to be aware that what you're putting in your eyes goes into your brain and you memorize that. And that's not necessarily appropriate. We need to put some regulators on that so that we don't become addicted. So one of the things that I thought was pretty fun is I've got a friend that happens to own a short-term rental, and one of the things that happened is that one day he has this short-term rental and everything's going along well. He finds a guest that is willing to pay him cash and pay in advance, and things are going along for 2 months, no problems, and then there's a slow pay. And so what happens is that he gets a phone call from the police, and the police are at the house and they're asking him a whole bunch of questions about all his ownership and how he's involved and this and that. And then he learns that they're shooting live pornography. It's streaming out of this house. And the police went down there and arrested all these folks, and then the neighbors found out that there's pornography being shot. And of course, my friend, being a friend, asked me, how do I feel about pornography? And my first question was, is there any violence? No. Is there child pornography? No. Is there any animals involved? No. I said, well, it's probably very profitable, and I don't have anything against it. And then I said, but the neighbors would, because how would you like to have a porno star come out of your house and wave to the neighbors in their t-shirt? Yeah, probably wouldn't go over real well. So, bottom line, let's get to it. How do we stop it? How do we prevent the addiction? What do we need to do in order to get it? You're going to have to change your lifestyle. You're going to have to seek competent help and therapy, Reiki healing and cognitive therapy and some psychotherapy. Those are all good things to have. Those of you that don't have an addictive behavior, you can quit cold turkey. My point is that we need to learn how to moderate things in our lives. I'm not saying pornography is good or bad. Certain parts of pornography I definitely am firm on. I want you to comment down below. I want you to realize that this is an external factor that causes erectile dysfunction. And if you want to get rid of the erectile dysfunction, you need to think long and hard about how pornography is affecting that. So you have a great day. Thank you for coming. I want you to be wealthy, and I want you to have a great sex life.